Hey class, Professor Andrew here, and since I don't really get to do lectures for this class, when I get a question, I'll try and answer it via video. It's a little easier for me actually to communicate through speaking than maybe writing, because I worry about the accuracy of words and all that. So when I speak, it just kind of flows. So a great question came up from Angeli Martinez, and she asked about what it means in the Bible when it talks about us being created in the image of God, or humanity being created in the image of God. So I thought I'd take a second just to speak to that for any of you who might be wondering more about that topic as well. And I just want to read briefly here from Genesis. In Genesis, it says, Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. They will rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, the whole earth, and the creatures will crawl on the earth. So God created man in his own image. He created him in the image of God. He created them male and female. So God creates, again, humanity, both male and female, in his image, not just men. So that's an important designation. I don't know if that's as important today as it used to be, but it's very important to recognize that. I think most of you recognize that. That's why I say it that way. But I want to focus in on some of the words here, and mainly in the Hebrew. Let us make man in our own image. The word image in the Hebrew is salem, and that word means, it's used 4 other times in Scripture, and it really, the best translation is image, but it's more like reflection. And so when you see this, you say, well, God created humanity to be a reflection of him. So to be created in God's image doesn't mean we look like God, but that we are a reflection of God, that we are somehow revealing God in who we are. Now, this is where you can start to get in trouble, right? Because if you start to look at that and say, well, you could run with that in a couple of ways. You could run with it and say, well, then I am a God, and that would be bad theology. That would be appropriate. That's not what God is saying here at all in these verses. He's saying you're created in the image of God. He didn't create us to be gods, right? So we aren't gods, but we do reveal him. Now, when you look at the creation narrative, and what do you see here is, humanity stands out. As you saw in the reading, humanity stands out in our authority over creation. So we have authority with God over creation. So we have the ability to rule. We have the ability to think. We have an intellect. We have a soul. Some scholars would go even as far as to say it's our spirit, it's our prayer life, it's our desire for righteousness, it's all these little nuances in the human experience that animals in the animal world doesn't experience, that makes us images of God, or created in the likeness of God to reflect him. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with going that far. I think there's a lot of truth to that. But if you want to stay very tight to Genesis 1, I would say that we are simply a reflection of God. And then to go, if you wanted to take it a step further, I'd be okay with it. I would personally as well, and say that image of God, or that reflection of God, is revealed even more in the gospel, in that we are able to have salvation, we're able to grow, we're able to think and pray and draw near to God. All these, again, unique experiences to humans that the angels don't experience, the animals don't experience, all these things that are special just to humanity. And I think that reveals who we are in the likeness of God. Not that we are gods, but that we are created in his image. I hope that helps. It still feels a little mushy. If it does, rewatch the video, and if it still feels mushy, ask me another question, and I'll see if I can get it a little tighter for us. So thanks for asking the question, Angeli.